Today we will talk about second lord in all the houses, and we will talk also about the things that we can see from the second house. That's the wealth, stammering, eye issues. Okay. So predominantly we'll talk about the second lord in all the 12 houses from the Lagna. The important thing is the disposition of the second lord. That gives you the 60% of the result besides the second lord in all the houses. So whoever do not know what a dispositor would mean is, I'm giving you an example of how to find a dispositor. Assume your Lagna is Capricorn and the second lord is Saturn. So wherever the second lord sits, find out the Rashi's Adhipati of it, the lord of that Rashi. Assuming now Capricorn is the Lagna, second lord is Saturn. Saturn is sitting in Taurus, assuming. Okay. Now Venus, who is the lord of the Taurus, becomes the dispositor of the second lord. Now you have to check this Venus from the Lagna, wherever it is placed. That actually also will give you the major result, which is 60%, along with the second lord in the different houses. When you're using Vimshotri Dasha, these are extremely important. You can decipher the results of the dashas using these principles. So be a little patient till all the 12 houses are covered. I'll tell you how to use them in the dashas till the time you can keep using them with respect to the lagna. Okay, so when the second lord gets into the second lord getting into the first house, you can see the shloka given by Parashara here. What he states is Dhaneshe Lagnage Jatam Putravan Dhana Samyutaha Kutumba Kantakaha Kami Nishturaha Parakaryakrit. This is what Parashara says. What he means is a couple of things. Before I go into this, my humble request to all of you is, if you think that second lord being placed in Kendras, Konas is good, placed in 6, 8, 12 is bad. I mean, there is a lot of stereotyping on this. I would discourage that. Okay. Don't be of the opinion that having any lord at any place from the Lagna is going to affect anything. Okay. Similarly, second lord being in the exaltation, second lord being in the debilitation. A lot of people are thinking, oh, exaltation is good, debilitation is bad. Okay. I can show you a lot of people who are dealing with poverty while they have the second lord exalted, and who are extremely doing well, who have their second lord debilitated. So strictly speaking, with the D1 chart, either the lord is debilitated or exalted or in the 6, 8, 12 or in the kendras or in the konas is not straight away enough for you to earn money or lose money. Okay, please do not stereotype this. Parashara was very clever. He wrote these things so that you practice and then try to implement these things, but not do it like a blind man who just gets carried away by these things. So one of those things is using the dispositor. If the dispositor is badly placed, the 60% of the result is gone. Okay. If the dispositor is well placed, besides the fact that the second house lord you think is not very well placed, the dispositor is good, in the future the person is going to do well. Okay, as he progresses in life, the person is going to do much better with the dispositor's placement usually. Okay, because you're looking at the D1 alone and you're trying to see how the person is, and you have to be very, very thoughtful that in a span of 2.5 hours of time, there will be so many people born on this earth, and everybody will have the same D1 chart. So you have to be extremely careful when you're timing things like wealth or family, or for that matter, anything of a person. You have to look at divisional charts, use dashas, and then also use the D1 nakshatras that I have taught you, and then look at these things. Lot of people, the biggest mistake people are doing is they don't use nakshatra, they don't use anything. They will just read this and try to make a prediction. Oh, your second lord is exalted, super. Your second lord is debilitated, it is bad. Your second lord is in the 6, 8, 12, it is worse. Please don't do this 50 rupee predictions. They don't work. The reason is you can see big people's charts, they don't really matter. Okay. Now, Dhaneshe Lagnage Jatam, when the second lord gets into the first house, Putravan, the person has progeny. Okay. Dhana Samyutaha, he also has money, right? Kutumba Kantakaha, Kami Nishturaha. See, the person is extremely straightforward. Second lord would mean how the person is talking, right? How does he talk? So, Nishturaha means a non-diplomatic person, very straightforward person who speaks truth on the face. Now, you would tell me either this is a good thing or a bad thing. It can be both. Some people might like straightforward people. Some people does not want to hear the truth. They want to keep everything softly and not to be spoken on the face. Some people get offended because of straightforward talking. Some people would like it. It depends on the person who is taking it. So it has got nothing to do with this person. So it depends ultimately on the person who is receiving it. How would you know that? Whether it is going to affect him badly or goodly? Look at the divisional charts, look at the dasha, right? At one point in time, what worked, the straightforwardness may not help him at another point in time of the life, right? The same characteristic might sound very bad at places. Same thing might sound very good at places, right? Because sometimes honest feedback can land you into problems, and the other times, honest feedback can get you very good appreciation, right? It depends on the person who is receiving it. Kutumba Kantakaha. See, second lord is nothing but the eighth lord from the seventh house. So the placement of the eighth lord from the seventh house in a position where it can aspect back the seventh house, right? Because if the second lord is in the first house, it aspects the seventh house. Now, this lord is none other than the eighth lord from the seventh house. That's not a very good, or that's not a very welcome combination for the seventh house. So the person either could be two, three things here. One is it can spoil the family of the person, may have multiple marriages, or he doesn't like the way in which the family, what is that? The psychology of the family or the kind of philosophy the family is carrying with respect to money or with respect to the worldly matters. So he could be saying, look, you guys have had everything in your hands. You did not invest it in the right places. Had I been there, I would have taken more risks and I would have run much farther. And with the kind of wealth we had, we could have tripled it in no time. But you guys have lost the bus or missed the bus. But I do not want to be proven as a guy like you. So let me leave home, stay. Let's suppose he is in Bombay. Let me go to New York. I'm giving you only a, you know, as an example. So he goes to New York or a busier place and tries to, try his luck, right? So, or it can be the other way around. He would say, look, you guys have tried too much by overrunning. Let me not run so much, be contented and rock back to Bombay from the New York and spend less and eat less and live happy rather than running all through the life, right? Parakaryakrit would mean somebody who is focused on the other people's job. It means he is trying to solve the problems of the others. It could be a political person who is a politician who is trying to solve the problems of people. And that's why he has low family life. Kutumba Kantakaha would mean he has low family life, right? So the person is focused on, political. You look at these MLAs, MPs who run for political seats, etc. What they do, they actually have a lot of public life. They go home less, and the wife of the politician is actually trying to, make up for that, and she is doing a lot of work, right? That can be one thing. Or he's a person who is focused on trying to solve other people's problems and trying to earn wealth. In olden days, when Parashara was writing this, this is not considered a good thing. In today's world, you ask any business person, he will say, what is the first business rule is solve the problem of the world. That is where you will get a lot of wealth. Identify a problem of the world. But world is what? It's somebody else's problem, right? It is not your problem. In olden days, what people thought is it is good to solve self's problem, but not get into other people's problems, right? But this man is more focused on other people's problems. And that is where this man is trying to achieve wealth. So he could be a little stingy, okay? He could have two marriages. He is a self-made person. He has he's focused on more savings so that there is a if there is a problem in life wherein if you have to rock back and take some wealth in case of contingency, let me have some contingency fund. He's trying to build that, and that keeps growing, right? So wherever the lord of the first house is placed, the simple rule is count four houses from it. That house is little spoiled or going down in some way. It affects a little bit of negatively anything that falls in the fourth house from the second lord. Okay, so what happens here is it could be, the fourth house contains what? It could contain mother, could contain extended family, could contain the home, the peace of the person, the comforts of the person. So the person is not going to enjoy comforts. He would rather say, let me go back and run further. Most times the person is trying to make more and more money because second lord and the first house, two and one combinations make wealth, right? So the person is, this is actually a dhana yoga, right? So the person is trying to make wealth. First lord, second lord combination, he's trying to make wealth, right? All right. So also we can see based on the position of the second lord and its dispositor, what is the source of the wealth? Okay, if the second lord's dispositor is in the Lagna or the second lord is in the Lagna, the person is trying to sell himself. He's trying to sell his personality. Like you look at a politician or a businessman, what he would, I don't know if you know this man, Lalita Jewelers, right? The man is too bald, and he's very famous in the southern states, right? All across the southern India, this man is too famous because he advertises for himself. He doesn't go for anybody else. He thinks he is the product himself, right? Or he could be a politician who stands up and says, look, I'm a politician, so please vote for me. Or he's a businessman where straight away he says, look at me and try to invest in the business. It's not for the business, but look at me and then invest. Or he's the face value, right? That is all about the first lord in the second house. When the first lord goes to the second lord goes to the second house, what you can expect is dhaneshe dhanage jato dhanavan garva samyutah dvibharyo bahubharyo va sutahinaha prajayate, right? So the second lord in the second house, uh, as I keep saying, none of the combinations are good, none of the combinations are bad. Okay, you have to keep this. I mean, you have to write this in golden ink or red ink or whatever ink you think this will not go. That kind of ink you have to use and write it in your minds. You look at a chart, you do not come to a conclusion based on exaltation or own science, etc. Okay, so Lagneshe Dhanage Jato Dhanavan Garva Samyutaha, right? The person can be having ego, or the person has, if you ask me, I would say he has a lot of bandhanas. See, second house represents the earthy element, right? Which planet does exalt there? Second house, what is the natural second house? Natural second house is Taurus, right? And the moon that is exalting. Look at that thing, the kind of earthy area the Taurus is, and people do not want to leave it, right? See, you're born in this life, you will live for what? At the most 100, 120. And there are people who will hold grudges all through their life. look, I will not talk to this man for my life. And he can never forgive them, and they can never forget what happened to them, right? These are what garva would mean. Garva doesn't really mean it's an ego thing, or being proud or haughty is not the real garva. The real crux of it is not being able to forget or forgive what happened to them, right? Because see, most of the times you must have heard the word called as nimitta matra, right? If something happens to you due to somebody else, he was only an instrument, right? Your karma is so destined that a bad had to happen to you, and that's why the other person came as an instrument. But we keep cursing the other person, saying that, look, had this man not walked into my life, I would have been a lot better person. But that's not how, that's not so. You actually attract such kind of people with the kind of karma that you are carrying, and you are destined to feel the pain. That is why this came, right? The person has money and he is greedy because he's earthy, right? He's trying to make more and more bandhanas for him, and he's not able to give away anything. It's too difficult for him to either give away money, give away grudges, give away, mistreating people or trying to be rude with people. These are all possibilities when you have, especially the planets like Saturn, Mars, Ketu, Rahu, all these in the second house. The second house is trying to be, I mean, don't think being in an exaltation is a good thing, being in a debilitation is a good thing. Forget exaltation, own sign, and all that. The more the malefic planets are placed in the second house, the more is the person carrying those grudges with him. Okay. So, dvibharyo bahubharyo va sutahinaha prajayate, right? Accepting this Dhanavan word, if you look at Parashara, what he meant in those days, I mean, Dvibharyo, Bahubharyo was considered a very good thing because you cannot get married unless you can, provide food for all these people. Dvibharyo means having two wives. Bahubharyo means having many wives, right? You could marry only if and only if you have the capability to feed all of them, right? So Sutahinaha, right? This is another thing. Sutahinaha, why is it Sutahinaha? Because if you look at the second house, it is in the sixth position from the ninth house. What has ninth house got to do with the children? It is the bhavat bhavam from the fifth house. If you count five houses once again from the fifth house, that's the ninth house, and that makes up for as a sixth house from the ninth house, the second house. And sixth house is not a good house for children from the ninth house, right? So that's one thing. And second house, if you count four houses from the second house, you have the fifth house, wherein it actually makes little difficult for the lineage to continue, right? So it can show a person who has extreme money. He can have many wives, but there can be problems related to children. However, you will not jump and say, oh, you've got second lord in the second house, you will not have children. Please don't do these silly mistakes, because I've told you 100 times at least by now, if you have listened to at least one of my classes, for sure you will know that you just look at one thing, and if you jump and say, look, you don't have children, that's the very mean thing to do by any astrologer. This is an indication. Where do you confirm? You have to look at the divisional chart, Saptamsha. You have to look at the nakshatras placements of the fifth house, first house, dispositors, etc. from the D1 chart. Look at Saptamsha, look at Dasha, and see if there are Dashas that are coming up for children, etc. and try to understand if it's all okay. This can still mean he may have kids, but those kids are living in the United States, and this man is either in the Delhi or in the Hyderabad, and trying to think, oh, my kids are not along with me, right? They have settled down there, I'm living alone here, and all that. Or maybe he's unmarried completely, and that's why there is no lineage, right? Even that can be possible. Okay. So don't come to conclusions using these things. A lot of people, what they do is they just read this first lord, second lord, third house, etc., and try to give predictions, and they all are bound to fail. We have already seen that many a times. So second lord being in the second house can also affect progeny. Please be mindful of this. The other thing is prajayate. This is another important word. Okay. Prajayati means somebody who is being born once again. What does being born once again means? He is not able to do dana, dharma, etc. Right? Because he thinks he's going to live for long and let me hold all this. It could be grudges, it could be money, it could be anything, being rude to people and all that. Okay. So, I mean, if somebody has second lord in the second house, again, I will say, please don't think you will be rude and you are going to get everything wrong. I'm not ever saying that. Why I'm trying to give you this information is so that you will be circumspect when you're trying to understand good things. You know always that second lord being in the second house obviously gives you money. I'm not denying it. Okay, I'm trying to tell you what are the other things that you can look for. If you are an ordinary person, you're a middle class man, you either earn 50 lakhs or you earn 1 crore, okay, in today's standards. At the end of maybe, I don't know, at the current level, if somebody has 50 lakh, 1 crore is considered as a middle class person, right? Or maybe 2 crores, not more than that, correct? So we are all middle class people. So such people, if they have the other issues, right? If you're looking at a real person who is a financially doing like an Ambani or an Adani, that's a different thing, right? Then just be having the second lord in the second house won't help even at all. You need to have yogas for them, okay? So what is that thing that you will have as a source for the business or source for the money? Source for the money is the second house. Second house may contain inherited business from the father, or the second house things like he is a teacher, he's a singer, he is using his voice, or he's using his second house for money making, right? Or he has a family business running, right? So third house, what I'm trying to do with through the lecture is I'm trying to break the stereotypes of the people thinking that okay, second lord in the second house is good, third lord in the fourth, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people keep asking me, sir, my fifth lord is in the ninth house, is this good? There is nothing called good or bad. There's nothing comes out like that. Even now, people keep writing over the comments. Sir, my मेरा पांचवा लॉर्ड वहां है, छठा यहाँ है, आठवां यहाँ है. ये अच्छा है या नहीं है? How would one answer that? It doesn't carry anything. Okay. Based on the karma, you have got those planets, and the same combination will give you good results in some dashas. The same combinations will give you bad results in some dashas. That is why, you have to carefully do remedies. You cannot do just like that. Okay, this planet is a bad position. Please do a remedy for it. This is very wrong. You can't do remedies like that. Okay. If somebody is doing remedies just like that, they don't, one thing is they don't work. Second is if they work, they can also give you, a backfired thing, right? So look at it from all the angles. You have to be 100% sure. Okay, this is the problem. Let me do a remedy for this. But should we do it to the planet or the nakshatra or the rashi, or how are we going to do the remedy, right? That is more important. What remedy are we executing, right? So I don't know. I mean, how people could be so anyway. Let's focus on what we are focused at. Okay. So second lord in the third house. Second lord in the third house, we have to understand what third house would mean. Third house, sixth house, eighth house, 12th house. A lot of people think these are evil houses. These are bad houses. I don't disagree with the name because the name is that is what is the name given to it. But in today's times, if you have to be successful, then you need these houses. Okay. If you're putting hard work, then you need these houses. You don't want to change your life, you just want to be wherever you are. Because in today's world, if you're trying to be wherever you are, then also you will fail, because the kind of inflation that we have at the rate of 15 14%, in about 10 years you would go to zero. Even if you have 100 rupees, right? Your 100 rupees would go out in about a couple of years. Anyway, it's compounding as well. So if you have to run, if you're working, and more the time elapses, and as we move forward in the world, more and more work is needed, right? You can't sit idle and look at something. Oh, no, 99% of the times you will fail if enough work is not put in, right? So Dhaneshe. So these houses like the third house, sixth house, eighth house, 12th house will give you challenges. If you don't have challenges, how would you win, right? So I would believe just merely looking at the placements of the third, sixth, eighth, 12, don't be worried. Okay. Look at how the person is. If he is trying to work, if he wants to work, and if the question is towards the work, look, I'm putting my efforts. Will I be successful? Most times it will be the question. So how would you, I mean, by and large, you have to look at anyway the whole thing, but the gist of it is more the planets are in the 3, 6, 8, 12, more is the effort that he is putting in, right? Now you go back to D10, D9 and try to see if everything is in line. And if he needs some confidence, boost his confidence up and tell him, look, keep continuing this. And then try to understand what business he's doing. Will that fit in or not? Use the nakshatras. You will know a lot of things from the nakshatras. Do not forget what is understood already. And I mean, a lot of people, what they do is they forget everything and try to apply these principles because these are very easy to apply, and failure is right there. Okay. You will miserably fail if you don't use nakshatras and just use this without the background. You're definitely going to fail. Anyway, so the third house, Dhaneshe, Sahaje, Jato, Vikrami, Matiman, Guni. Kami, Lobhi, Shubhadhye cha, Papadhye, Devanindakaha. I will start from here. This is an interesting word. Okay. A lot of people understood this already, probably. Right. Devanindakaha means somebody who, curses the devas, right? That is what literally translation would mean. Second Lord placed in the third house would curse gods. This is what the translation would mean. Or he would not believe in gods. I mean, not believe, why would he write Nindaka? Nindak means somebody who is cursing, somebody who is ill treating, right? So third house belongs to naturally the Mercury. Mercury stands exactly opposite of Jupiter. You see, wherever Jupiter is ruling, two houses are being ruled by Jupiter. Look at it, right? Sagittarius and Pisces. And what are those opposite houses that is being ruled? It's ruled by Mercury, right? Mercury rules them, and Mercury says, look, you don't have to believe in Jupiter. Believe in yourself. Third house and sixth house, right? Do not believe in the God, right? Either the God is there or not, you're not sure. But if you are there, you're very sure of it, right? So believe in what you have. Try to improve your skill set. Try to be more competitive. Try to learn more, because Mercury is a child. Mercury is curious. Mercury wants to learn. Mercury wants to beat the Jupiter. Jupiter is the master, and Mercury is the child in the class. And while the master is teaching, the child is learning, and the child is trying to compete and want to exceed over the master, right? And master is called as the God, right? Because he is giving you the knowledge, right? Now look at it from that way. If you are lighting up a candle and if you're leaving it in the wind, I mean, we have prominent sayings, मुहावरे जो हम लोग बोलते हैं, दिया जला के आप हवा में छोड़ देंगे तो दिया बुझ जाएगा ना, right? If you light up a lamp and leave it in the wind, the lamp is going to go off, right? So you need protection for it. So you need to know where the lamp has to be lit. So that is what Devanindakaha means. He believes that do not believe in God for obvious things. Obvious things are, if you work hard, you will succeed, right? So, third house is your mind, your subconscious mind, your arms. The more and the more you're learning a skill with your arms, that's just in case if you have got to do your work with the arms, use your arms well. Don't be looking at the God. Why look at God, right? This is nothing wrong. Actually, if you have such a combination, second lord being in the third house, it's very good. I will say this is very good because the person believes in himself. He will not unnecessarily go for two astrologers and keep spending money for unnecessary remedies where the astrologers are going to benefit and the person is going to lose, right? Because if you have second lord in the third house, no matter what you do as a remedy, nothing will work. Only thing that you have to do is put an effort, and tremendous effort, because third house is Mercury. Extreme efforts. If you are a 50-year-old guy, go back and see how you were working during your 20s. If you have been employed during the 20s, look at how you were working during the 20s. Your work time, your concentration in the work kept on going down as you have been aging, right? So the third and sixth houses are those young ages where more work has to be put into work, right? More time has to be put into work. Dhaneshe Sahaje Jato Vikrami, the person is courageous, right? Now, you have to go and tell him, look, you have to be courageous. There is no way looking back, right? If you have to be successful, you have to risk. You have to be courageous. You have to be matiman. That means somebody who is using his mind and he has very good understanding of how to make money by himself. He doesn't need anybody's help. All that he needs to do is he has to at the most maybe travel a little, because second house getting into the third house, second lord going into the third house is a travel house, wherein, let's suppose you're living in Delhi, maybe every now and then you keep going to Varanasi, do your work, come back, and could be a seasonal job or could be a contractual job, etc. You have to think of ways how to do that, right? Kami, somebody who is desirous of achieving a lot of things. Kami wouldn't generally mean the libido, because kami can also translate into a libido or the lust. But kami would also mean somebody who is desirous of achieving something. This is a very important trait to have if you want to achieve money, right? Lobhi, that means somebody who is stingy, who wants to save money. When you have Shubhadya, that means if you have good planets, good and bad would not mean by the lordship here. Please take grahas which are good, right? Good in the sense Jupiter, Mercury, Moon, all these are good planets, right? Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, these are generally malefic, bad planets, right? So when you have bad planets, you cannot remedy this house. You have to work more, right? Hope I'm clear what I'm trying to say. Okay. So if you're trying to do a remedy for it, there is no point in doing. But these people will, if they are if their fourth house is spoiled, right? If their fourth house is having too many planets, or if they're looking at very good comforts, because fourth house is the comforts and third house is loss of comforts. Somebody who has to come out of his comfort zone and work. If his fourth house has more planets, say third house has lower number of planets, maybe he's not trying to come out of the place, okay? Or maybe other combinations you have to look for and try to understand if he's easy going too much into the comfort zone, break his comfort zone and come out. Okay. So that is what you have to look at. Sixth house is being spoiled, right? So the problem with the second lord in the third house is also shortcuts, right? Sixth house is the effort and third house is the buddhi, right? Buddhi is where the Rahu exalts, right? Rahu doesn't have hands. Rahu doesn't have the torso or anything below the neck. The body is missing. He only has the brains. And person who uses brains, right? He's more lethargic, right? So you understand probably the reason why the sixth house is being there. And also the third house is effort, and third house is also not putting effort. Both can be possible with the same thing. So somebody who's trying to put efforts or not putting efforts, both can be seen from third house and the fourth house. Okay. So you see something, some combination like this, you have to check whether the person is trying to put in work or not. Not trying to put in work, trying to only, resort to remedies, etc. It will not work. Okay. So short travels, media, these are the sources of the wealth. All third house things: communication, transport, writing, content creation in today's things, sports, hobbies. Okay, all these things can be into the third house. The fourth house, dhaneshe sukhabhavaste sarva saukhya samanvitah guruna samyute svoche rajatulyo naro bhavet. You haven't seen a single word which sounds as if there is something bad in this house. Second Lord in the fourth house. I mean, if you know a bit of Hindi or Telugu or Malayalam, or for that any language that is Indian, you must have already got it. Dhaneshe Sukha Bhavaste Sarva Saukhya Samanvitaha Guruna Samyute Svoche Rajatulyo Naro Bhavet. None of the words would mean anything negative here. However, the only problem with the second house being in the fourth house is, uh, again, the same thing. If the person is choosing comforts, okay, because most times what happens is second lord in the fourth house, he would, by the time he graduates out of the college, he has a business ready for him, given by somebody else, and he would inherit it, right? And if he doesn't know how to run it, right, and if he is lethargic and somehow the combinations are not very great, there can be a collapse of the business, right? So how do you know that? You have to look at the dashas, D10, D9, etc. But usually second lord in the fourth house, what people have or usually got is an established business, right? Because second lord is the money. Fourth house is the extended family. Most of the times his father's cousins are already into a business. A same business is being done by all the brothers of his father, including his father. So he inherited the same business and he is doing it, right? So it can also mean real estate, it can also mean agriculture, vehicles, mines, family businesses. Established business is what you will get from here. It spoils the seventh house being in the fourth from the fourth house. So it can spoil either the partnerships, if there are partnerships with the people, there can be problems with the partners, or there can be an elimination of the competition, right? Seventh house also deals with competition. Okay, like the sixth house, I have told you the sixth house thing. If your work is very good, if you're working very well, and if you put a lot of efforts, the sixth house can also mean competition. Your competition is eliminated because they have given up and they said, look, this man is so determined that he has to win. We have to close our business and go. Let him do the business. We cannot do it, right? Same is the case here. It can bring in problems with the partners or it can eliminate the opposition, right? So, Guruna Samyute Svoche Rajatulyo Naro Bhavet. What does it mean is, oh, I mean, look, anyway, I've said all the positive side of it. Now I'm coming to the negative side of it. Rajatulyo Naro Bhavet. He's not the Raja, he's Rajatulya. Somebody who is like the king. Now, the problem with the like the king thing is, you look at, an ordinary person living like a king. What is the problem with him? So he has too many expenses, right? He's not a middle class. He doesn't consider himself as a middle class guy anymore. He spends a lot, right? So if he has enough money in the store for him, that's a different case, right? How do you see money? Anyway, I've told you some techniques of the D9. I'll teach you a few techniques right now in the D1 thing. So you will know a few things, and also the dasha, whether the money is going to come or go. You've seen nakshatras and etc. All of them you have to put together and try to see. There's no way there's one single rule won't work. Okay, so uh, expenses is what you have to be focused on when you have the second lord in the fourth house. Not trying to show off too much, trying to spend too much. Okay, that can be a problem, and more importantly, when the Jupiter is along with it in the Swakshetra Swakshetra means the own sign or the exaltation with the second lord in the fourth house, this line will apply. Guruna Samyute Svoche Rajatulyo Naro Bhavet, wherein the expenses are going to increase. Okay. Now don't think, oh no, fourth house, I have exalted Jupiter. Oh, fourth house, I have own Jupiter. They should give me more money. No, it will not give you more money. It will give you more expenses. Okay. You are not able to control your expenses. You have to control them well. You know why? Because the Jupiter is the natural 12th lord. It is in the exaltation, right? So it's the expenses increasing. What a lot of people don't realize is, okay, if your expenses are increasing, and when can you spend? Only if you have it, right? That is why Jupiter is the karka for bringing money. But what happens with, if let us suppose nothing else is working and everything is died off in the chart and only this Jupiter is working, he will keep increasing the expenses. And he has no means to earn money, but there are expenses, so he is getting into loans, right? So that can also be possible. That's why I keep saying, don't look at just merely one planet and say, oh, this is very good. Exalted Jupiter, you will get more money. Oh, debilitated Jupiter, you will not have children. This is like not even 5 rupee prediction. Okay, please don't do such things. They don't work in the real life. All right. Fourth is over now. Fifth house, right? Fifth house, dhaneshe sutabhavaste jato dhana samanvitaha dhanoparjanaseelascha jayante tatsuta api. Right? I can read either of three languages, so I wrote all three them here. Dhaneshe sutabhavaste jato. Jato means the native, right? Dhana samanvitaha, somebody who has money, right? Dhanoparjana seelascha. This is an important word. Who is struggling to get money, who is trying to run for money, okay? Who is doing all the hustle and the bustle to earn money. Don't think people who don't have money will hustle. People, even though they have money, they hustle a lot. Try to understand the people around you who are making money, they are actually hustling a lot, right? So here also, dhanoparjana silascha. This is a very, very important word. Do not miss this kind of words. Okay. Dhanoparjana silascha means the person's intent is to earn money, right? Now you have to have that intent. Where from that intent will come? It will come from the third house also. So for the fifth house to have such thing, your third house has to be clear, right? When you are using these planets alone, right? My perception is if you don't use them, all of them together and try to isolately see at one planet and give a prediction, it will fail. Okay, I try to give such predictions by making shortcuts, never they worked. Okay, so don't use them in isolation, any of these rules. Okay, second lord in the fifth house guarantees money provided there is dhanoparjana shilata, somebody who is interested in earning money, right? Where from the interest will come? It will come from the third house. How much effort, how much are you willing to earn? If I'm, or the fourth house, if I'm not coming out of my comfort zone, how would I earn even, right? How would that dhanoparjana shilata will come? Tat suta api. That means the person's child is also going to have that dhanoparjana shilata. That means who is interested in running for money. The best thing is do not have any planet in the third house, in the sixth house. Second lord is in the fifth house. By default, there is dhanoparjana shilata, right? If the sixth and the third are clear, even if the planet is debilitated in the fifth house. Example, the lagna is Sagittarius, second lord is Saturn in the debilitation in the fifth house. The person is trying to hustle, not be in the comfort zone. He would become uncomfortable and still want to try and earn some money. This is extremely important. If you have to be successful, money won't walk up to anyone. You ask any businessman, he will say, look, I have hustled all my life. That's why I have been successful. Nobody says in this world, look, I did nothing, everything walked up to me. No one will say this. If somebody is saying that, it's all BS. Don't believe it. Okay. The other thing that you can look with the second lord in the fifth house is it's not a very good placement to have second lord in the fifth house, because the second house is ruled by Venus and the fifth house is ruled by the sun naturally, right, from the Aries. Now, Venus and the sun are dire enemies, right? So the ideology of the children, okay, especially in terms of earning money, there will be a big difference. The children will keep blaming that, look, dad, you must have done, like I said, for the second lord in the first house, dad, you could have run more. You didn't do that much of running. You had enough money and the inflation was low then. Had you invested in the stock market in the 95, you would have been a billionaire by now. You just did not invest that. Instead, you kept it in the savings bank that gave you nothing, right? So the kind of children, are they going to come back and challenge the person? Or it can be the other way around. Dad, had you not invested that in the share where the company has, closed down, had you at least put that whole money into just the savings bank, we would have at least retained it. It can be both the ways, okay? Or the children are actually living in the abroad, and this man is here. They're very different from him. the ideology, the characteristics are extremely different. This is what you can expect from the second lord in the fifth house. Speculation is good. That is where the person can earn money, provided the second lord is not debilitated in the fifth house. Usually that is not very good for speculation because sun doesn't like being debilitated. Okay, so because the fifth house shouldn't have a debilitated planet. Otherwise, I mean, anyway, the interest itself will not be there much with the second lord being debilitated in the fifth house, or fifth house carrying a debilitated planet. Usually the interest is not there, right? Speculation, education, counseling, these are all fifth house things. Fifth house is counseling, fifth house is education, fifth house deals with political power, right? Or fifth house deals with the power in the office. The person is either powerful in the office or the person is waiting for power to come to him in the office. Both can be possible depending on the planets being involved, right? So, fifth house also deals with the priests who work in the temples, or the pandits, or the pujaris, or those who do the dharmic things for us, like the namkaran, the vivaha, all that stuff, right? So, all these people can also be in the second lord being in the fifth house. Politics, gambling, right? Fifth house is also a gambling thing because it's in the quadrants to the eighth house, right? So fifth house can also deal with the eighth house thing. A fifth house planet of the second lord being in the fifth house will spoil the eighth house. So it can spoil the bad luck of the person. So it can remove the bad luck, or it can create problems with the inheritance. Okay. Second lord in the sixth house. Dhaneshe ripu bhavaste sashubhe shatruto dhanam sapape shatruto hanirjanga vaikalyavan bhavet. Right? So Dhaneshe ripu bhavaste shashubhe shatruto dhanam sapapo shatruto hanirjanga vaikalyavan bhavet. Of this, I mean, let's start with this word. Angavaikalyavan. Angavaikalyavan means somebody who is not able to, I mean, how do you say that? Specially abled is what we are calling them today. I mean, who is affected by polio, not able to walk very well, or doesn't have the arms well, maybe lost the arms, or anything of that sort. Okay, Angavaikalyam, right? Angavaikalya, right? So second lord being in the sixth house doesn't ensure it. Okay, please don't jump and say, "Oh, second lord in the sixth house, I'm pretty much all good. I have no problems with my hands or etc." It can mean even in the dasha as well, wherein the walking becomes difficult for the person because of an excretory, piles issue, fissures issue. The person is not able to walk for that point in time. Okay, or the person has a broken leg, is not able to stand up at that point in time, etc., can be seen from here. Okay, so that's why Parashara is very, very intelligent. I mean, a lot of people keep telling me, advising me, why are you putting this stuff on the internet for free, right? You should not make this land into the wrong people. Even if they want to learn, right? Wrong people, if they want to learn, they can never learn it because it needs dedication, right? You have been learning these classes for what, 120 or 130 classes now, each being two hours. You haven't even learned, I don't know, even 5% of what even I know. I know. I think I know only 1%, of which I have only taught 5%. Right? Now look how vast the subject can be. Okay. So nothing gets into the wrong people, etc. It's not going to be easy. Right? What a lot of people will go and jump in the air and say, no, look, second lord is in the sixth house, says Angavaikalyavan. No, no, I don't have any problems with my arms or legs. Don't be jumping like that. Okay. Parashara is extremely intelligent. He wouldn't write anything wrong. Okay. So, Dhaneshe Ripu Bhavaste Shashubhe Shatruto Dhanam. So, if the second lord being a benefic, right? Benefic again, as I say, it should be a planet which is naturally benefic, being in the sixth house. That would mean through the competition, the person is going to achieve money, or through the enemies, the person is going to achieve money. That means he could be is a police, he could be a army man who is hunting for enemies, etc. Right? Or he could be a doctor who is trying to hunt for the virus in the body and trying to remove it, right? Or he could be a lawyer who is trying to fight a problem for the person and trying to remove it. right? So it's a very good profession, right? Doctors are earning the best these days. I mean, if you ask a doctor, they would say, no, sir, we are not earning so much. We'll be going through a lot of pressure. You don't realize all that. Anyway, I mean, people will keep crying no matter how much ever they would be doing well. That's the commonality for the Kali Yuga. So you can't be complaining. However, so what you can expect is if the Lord, if the second Lord being a benefic placed in the sixth house, possibility is he's trying to earn from the enemies. Or if it's a bad planet like the Saturn, Mars, etc., being in the sixth house, that can bring in diseases to the person, or it can bring in problems to the person, or the enemies are defeating him, or the competition हावी हो जाना, मतलब competition is trying to win over him, he's losing all the orders, right? This could be a dasha thing as well. Okay, so don't think everything is linked just like to the D1 chart. This can show up in the D9 chart also. Okay, you need to know how to see it. Once all the 12 houses are over, I will teach you how to see that. Okay. So sapape shatruto hanirjanga vaikalyavan bhavit. So somebody who has something to do with the enemies. So he could be a bank person who is sanctioning loans as well. Sixth house deals with loans. So the prospects where this money can be coming from for the person who has second lord in the sixth house. Please understand, no placement is bad, no placement is good. Second lord in the sixth house, or the second lord's dispositor in the sixth house, will bring in money from these places. Okay, so he is a government servant. First thing is his money is coming from regular work. That means he goes to office in the morning at 9 o'clock. He comes back home exactly at dot 6, right? Or whatever time. There is a fixed time for the person, fixed routine for the person. No matter what happens, he will not go to the office on a Sunday. So usually it can be a government job or something where there is a routine work is expected, right? He could be a clerk-like person, right? So, or he is behind the enemy thing. So he's a thief police, or he's an army man. He's dealing with loan department in the bank. It could be any loans depending on, he could be a chief manager who is granting like industrial loans of 6 lakh crores or etc. I mean, I'm just giving you a number. I don't know what the number can be, but I mean, don't think, oh, sarkari job hai, clerk hai, chota job hai. It's not like that. Okay. Never estimate based on the placement. The placement of a planet can be anywhere and the number can be anywhere. Okay, so don't think, oh, second lord यहाँ पे है तो अंबानी नहीं बन सकता है. Okay, you do not know how to see it, that's all. Quality control, because see, what if this person is a pharmacy, drug manufacturer, right? He's removing the disease of the person. He's a drug manufacturer. Look at the pharma companies, how they are growing, most importantly after the COVID. And these kind of viruses are going to come more and more, so they're going to make more and more money. Look at the lawyers. I mean, I don't want to take out the names of the people because I heard a lawyer, I don't want to name him. He will try to frame people saying that, look, this man has done all this nonsense. He'll try to frame him up in the Supreme Court, or whatever court it is. Again, goes back as a defense lawyer for him and demand like 200, you give me 200 crores, I'll get you out of this case. He's the one who is filing the case and he's the one who is getting him out of the case. And there are more people. एक आदमी बदनाम हो गया, पर there are a lot of people who do it. Right? So, I mean, see, if why is the second lord are we looking at? Making money, right? So let us keep our intentions clear. We are making money today, right? So quality control, sixth house, because sixth house is the foreign body, and you're trying to remove it. What do quality control people do? This is past because it doesn't have any foreign body, or it is as per the specs. This is not past, right? Medicine, sports, loans, law, solving problems of people. So don't think second lord in the sixth house is a bad thing. It's actually a very good thing. Only thing is you need to know why is it a good thing. And if the native is in such a job, yes, he will excel. Right? If he is not in that, and if he is trying to do something else which doesn't fit here, then he has problems. And that's why he will keep crying and he'll come to you. Sir, I've been doing this, nothing is working out. What do I do? I'm doing business, sir. nothing is working. Yeah, you cannot do business because your second lord is in the sixth house. Because in a business, what happens is you don't have fixed timings, right? You cannot be taking leave on a Sunday. But a person who has second lord in the sixth house wants a leave on a Sunday, doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to work too much, right? These are all those limitations. So the moment you see it, you will know. But it can be so possible that second lord of the sixth house can be a person who is a who is a cook, right? Who is a chef. He cooks for all the people, and unless he goes in the morning, he cannot open the kitchen, and it's his kitchen, right? Although it's a business, now he goes up, he locks up at night. Then that's a sixth house thing, right? So you need to know these things. What needs a regular work? Okay. Do not stereotype anything. I don't know how much you're able to understand or grasp, but I'm trying to deliver whatever I know. So second lord in the seventh house, Dhanesho Saptame Jataha Paradara Rato Bhishak Papeschithyute Tasya Bharya Cha Vyabhicharini. Okay. Now you have to be once again careful when you see these kind of words called as Vyabhicharini would mean who's committing adultery or who's committing prostitution. Okay, these are big words, right? It's not usual for people to make affairs or indulge into extramaritals. It's not usual, right? Not everybody gets into it. So second lord being in the seventh house does not always mean it. However, see, the second lord is the eighth lord from the seventh house. So its placement in the seventh house will not augur well for the seventh house, which deals with marriage and partnerships, right? So partnerships, it can be a good thing because the partners may bring in money. The wife may bring in money, right? However, the the stability of the marriage can be a question, okay? And you have to look at Rashi Tulya Navamsha. You have to look at the Navamsha chart completely. Also look at the dashas and determine if there are issues with the stability of the marriage. For committing extramarital affairs, etc., you need to have connections of 3, 7, 11 with the first house, more planets in 3, 7, 11 houses in the Rashi Tulya Navamsha and also in the D1 chart, and also from the Navamsha Lagna. There are more planets like this, and those dashas are running. That is when you may think of an affair thing or something, whether it is spoiling the person or if it is, if it is kept as a secret away from the public. You have to see. I mean, it depends on the nakshatras of the D1 chart. Okay, so there are so many things within this whole thing, and one more word which we have left out here is bhishak. Bhishak means, a physician, a person who is a doctor, a healer. Okay, because Shiva is called as the Pradhamo Daivyo Bhishak in the Rudram. If you know Rudram, it is there that Shiva or the Rudra is the Pradhamo Daivyo Bhishak. That means the person who is the first healer or the Adi Yogi that is what people are calling him right now, right? So he is the first healer. So this man need not be a doctor. Okay, the one possibility is, see, using his second house with the seventh house. Seventh house is an audience. So if you are a doctor, what is that you need? You need a patient to come to your place, right? Or you are a performer where you are giving a performance in some kalakshetra, and people have to come and watch you while you're dancing or while you're singing or while you're playing your guitar or something, right? That is your second lord in the seventh house. So the other way of looking at the Bhishak word is Bhishak can mean a counselor. A person, when he talks to the other people with the second lord in the seventh house, he can mesmerize you. And if there is a person who is committing a suicide, if he listens to him, he will stop committing suicide and he would say, okay, let me live, let me not commit suicide. I think I found a way to live. Okay, so that can be the possibility. Then is the sources of income for the seventh lord is partnerships, consultants, right? Because he consults, I mean, he is consulted by the people. People are in the seventh house. Business, industries, Dowry can also be a thing because seventh house can bring in dowry. Public dealings, show business like the actresses do, okay, or the ramp walking, what's that, fashion people will do. It could be a flesh trade as well, wherein prostitution kind of things are there, or stage performers are there, or anything linked to the foreign. Okay, that doesn't belong to here, but it comes from elsewhere, is also from the seventh house. All right, these are the sources from where the money can be coming. All right, so the eighth house. The eighth house thing, okay, the seventh house, the fourth house is spoiled. So, fourth house from the seventh house is spoiled, where the tenth house can mean father, tenth house can mean the father's family, relationships with them, right? Relationships with the father, or it can mean hard work. The person is leaving hard work and trying to do some smart work, because 10th house stands for hard work, right? So yes, eighth house. Eighth house spoils, I mean, so when the second lord is placed in the eighth house, it spoils the 11th house. Okay. That's why usually, second lord in the eighth house usually is not considered a good placement. However, it doesn't mean that it is going to spoil the income or the money or the labha of the person. I mean, if you're so mean and if you don't understand the basics of astrology, only such people will say, oh, second lord is in the eighth house, your family is destroyed. I have heard people talking to me saying, sir, some astrologer told me my second lord is in the eighth house. He said second is for family and it has gone into the eighth house, so all your family is gone. Not necessarily, my friend. Doesn't happen like that. Let us see what Parashara is saying. Dhanesho ashtamage jatam bhuri bhumi dhanair Okay. Dhanesho ashtamage jato bhuri bhumi dhanair Patni sukham swalpam, jyeshtha bhratra sukham nahi. Actually, it should be na and he, right? So, what we can see here is Patni sukham swalpam. I'll give you two, three scenarios here. One is the person took divorce, and that's why there is no Patni sukham. Patni sukham means the comforts that you will get from the wife, right? There is another thing for it. The second scenario is the wife is working in Bombay, the husband is working in Delhi. This is very common these days. And every weekend, either of these people fly and meet each other. Okay. It can also mean this. Okay. So there are two families being run. In Parashara's times, 5, 6,000 years ago, when Parashara wrote this thing, it was not allowed that you live at a different place, and because there's no means of transport. They didn't have flights then. You cannot live at some other place. You cannot walk through. There were all jungles. You will be robbed of all your belongings if you try to walk after 6 p.m. in the evening, right? Before sunset, you have to reach your home. So the people were finding only means to work wherever they had their establishment or wherever they had their family. It was not allowed in those days. These days, I know at least 5, 6 people who do this. Every weekend, the person travels back home, or this lady travels and unites him. Okay, so that is what is Patni Sukham Swalpam would mean. Okay, it doesn't show anything about uh, this thing. See here, Dhanesho Ashtamage Jato Bhuri Bhumi Dhanair Yutaha. Somebody who has lot of land as an inheritance and he has enough money. He never said money is going to go. Okay, so please be careful when you are trying to stereotype things just by using evil houses and good houses. Please don't do such things. Parashara never said that. Okay. Jyeshtha Bhratra Sukham Nahi. Bhratru means the brother. Jyeshtha means the elder. Right? I'll give you two, three scenarios here. One is the mother had an abortion first, and then she had children. Right? So the first brother or the eldest brother is lost in the abortion itself. This is one good placement for second lord in the eighth house. Okay, because you may have to go back and check with your mother. Mother, did you have an abortion before you had kids? So yes, she might say yes. That's first thing. Second scenario is the person, after having born somehow, I mean, let God forbid, let it not happen to anyone, the elder brother or the elder sister died. Okay. And there's another scenario. Everybody is all right, but he doesn't keep good relationships, good relations with the elder brother or the elder sister. Right? These are those three scenarios. Those all three can be possible. Right? Now, second lord or the second lord be the dispositor of the second lord being here, both can bring in these things. Right? Okay. Ninth house. Second lord in the ninth house. Right. धनेशे धर्म भावस्ते धनवान उद्यमी पटुः बाल्ये रोगी सुखी पश्चात तीर्थ धर्म व्रताधिकृत. So, what you can see on the negative side is it spoils the 12th house. It can increase expenses for the person. It can increase unnecessary expenses for the person. First thing is, what is unnecessary expenses? I can give you one or two scenarios wherein, you thought one course will be very useful. It will bring in, some revenue to you in the career. You studied that course, and maybe you must have spent like 2 lakhs or 3 lakh rupees. You got some certification. Probably it's more relevant to the software people, right? Who got a certification, but at the end of the day, the management said, "Who told you that the certification is needed? It's not needed. You have to only attend a test conducted by the management, and you have to excel through it. That's it." He would be surprised. I mean, somebody must have told him it's the other way around. So there's a wastage of money. Okay, he may still get through the thing. I mean, he could still be selected, but he unnecessarily lost like 2-3 lakh rupees. And the management must have told him, look, the increment that you may get is only meager 4,000 or 2,000 rupees. So the thing that he has spent, he will get back only after 100 months, right? There is an unnecessary expense, or the person is overly thinking about a lot of things. Either he drinks a lot or he smokes a lot because he is constantly under tensed mood, right? 12th house are bad expenses as well. Okay, drinking, smoking, um, feeling very tensed for simple namby-pamby small things, etc. That can also be 12th house. It can also mean father's mother, right? Ninth house is father, and from there 4 houses is the father's mother. The father's mother must have died in very young or early age, right? Can mean anything. Okay, Dhaneshe Dharma Bhavaste Dhanavan Udyami Pati. Udyami Patu. Udyami means somebody, Udyam is a very, very good word. It can mean two different things. I mean, usually people think Udyami is a bad word. No, Udyami means somebody who is like you look at these terrorist people, okay, or revolutionaries, I would say, not terrorist. Udyama means in Telugu or Sanskrit is who is a revolutionary. Who doesn't like the normal path, right? Who wants to change his life, right? These people are industrious, right? So Udyami is industrious, revolutionary, who doesn't want to take the same path every time, maybe want to change it for people, establish himself. Patuhu can also mean skillful, who has a very good speech, right? All these are patuhu means who has a very good speech or who is extremely skillful in his craft, right? Balye rogi, somebody who is not keeping that well during childhood, but later on he became sukhi, that means who has all the comforts and who has tirtha dharma vratadikrit, somebody who is visiting temples, okay, and spiritual places or temples. I mean, why spiritual places? Tirtha, everybody knows what tirtha means, right? Dharma vrata adikrit, somebody who is spending money on the vratas, pujas, and all that stuff, who is following a religious path. So, where from will this man get money? What are the sources of money for the second lord or the second lord's dispositor being in the ninth house? Is property. Ninth house can show inheritance, okay? Don't think only eighth house shows it. Okay, ninth house can show inheritance. So, property, inheritance, being a teacher, higher studies, degrees, priesthood, temples, tourism, judges, government, authorities, or I mean, being a management guy, or being a consultant, or being an advisor, all these will bring in money for this man, or rather woman as well, right? So 10th house. So 10th, second lord in the 10th house. Well, see, Parashara said, do not look at a horoscope of a person who doesn't have planets in the 10th house. So 10th house is the efforts. The highest amount of effort a person will have to put is in the 10th house to kickstart it. Okay, if you have yogas in the 10th house, you had it. Okay, you have very good yogas in the 10th house. It means that they will kickstart only when you are putting tremendous effort into it, because it's the Saturn's house, and moreover it doesn't have much power, right? Look at when you have them in the Saturn's house, you need to push it, you need to kickstart them, you need to put a lot of effort into the 10th house. That is when the Raj Yogas will come out. Okay, so धनेशे कर्मगे जातः कामी मानी च पंडितः बहुदार धनैर्युक्तः किंच पुत्र सुखोज्जितः. Okay, it should be the second jha here. Okay, sukhojjitah. The first jha would be fine, but the second jha should be corrected. Sorry for those simple mistakes, because I use this chat GPT, etc., to copy and paste. Sometimes I overlook. So while I'm reading, I get to see that this is wrong. Anyway, so let's start with this itself. Kincha putra sukhojitah. That means putra sukha means children. Kincha ujjitaha. Ujjitaha means abandoning children. So either the person has abandoned children or the children abandoned the person. This can be for two reasons. Okay, I don't think the child is, throwing the parent out of it. Why do you take everything negatively? It can be so that you're living in Bombay and your children are living in the US, right? In today's world, it is very common. And you're thinking, my children are not with me. The other way of looking at it is, look at where the 10th house is. The 10th house is the 6th house from the 5th house. 5th house is the children thing. And ninth house is also the children thing. From both the places, 10th house is not well placed. If your 10th house is with too many planets, having children can be a difficulty. Okay. So you have excellent 10th house. You would be thinking, oh my God, look at all these planets. So many planets are there in the 10th house. One is in exaltation, one is in the own house, one is in the Mula Trikona. You will be clapping all around, and the guy will come back and say, sir, I don't have kids. What do I do? Okay, you will be surprised. You will see the 10th, 5th Lord is exalted, or 5th Lord is in the own house. It's along with the Lagna Lord. You'd be scratching all your heads. Why is it not coming? 5th Lord, 10th house, both are good houses. Why is it not working? Right? So you have to use your brains and look back what Parashara said. Parashara said 6, 8, and 12 are evil houses, but you assume they are from the Lagna. No, they're not from the Lagna. Most of the times they are from that place, from where what you're expecting. You're expecting a child in the 5th house. So 10th house falls in the 6th house from it. So it's not good for 5th house. You left this point and went on thinking anything from the Lagna will work. 99.9% of the times it won't work, especially if the planet is extremely strong. Okay, you have some or the other thing, right? I don't know how much you're able to understand, but these are certain things. That's why I have stopped looking at the positions from the Lagna, or as such, from, positions from the Lagna or anywhere. I'm using mostly nakshatras. They're more reliable, right? Now you see, but you need these things. Without these things, you cannot give remedies. If you have to give remedy, you need to know these things. Kincha putra sukhojitah, not having children, children far away, children not listening to him, children not obeying him. Okay, all these things can be possible. right? Bahudara dhanair yuktaha, having many wives and uh, having a lot of money, right? Dhaneshe karmage jataha. This is a very important word. What does karma mean, right? Karma means what? You have to work. You don't work, nothing is promised in 10th house. Only bad results will come. More the number of planets you have in the 10th house, you are lethargic, you are lazy, you had it. Okay, you had it. The person has to come out of his comfort zone, run away from his own place, go to some other place and work. If you have huge 10th house, and if you're not going out of your country, trying to stick to that place where you are born and only living there within those four walls, the more the number of planets are in the 10th house, more they are powerful, more harm they are doing. Okay. So that's why it is called as Desha, Kala, Patra, right? What kind of era are you living in? What is the time? What is the Desha? The Desha means the country. And what is the Patra? What is kind of person is he? You have to look at all this and then give the Palita. You can't be just looking at these things like a blind horse and running all around and saying, "Oh, this is good, that is bad, this is good, that is nothing works like that." Okay, Bahudara, I can say, see from the fifth house, 10th house is a sixth house, right? So if the people when a native did not have children, he will keep marrying in those days, right? So first house didn't have children, so बाज है एक काम करते हैं दूसरी शादी कर लेते हैं. It was allowed till 100 years of 70 years ago, till we didn't have independence. People used to marry as many times as they wanted, right? It was allowed. So they were getting married. Even after independence has come in some remote villages, people used to marry. Even now, I think a lot of people who are marrying, I mean, just stating that the woman is wrong. I mean, it's anyway, it's going to go off very soon. But those things were there. So Bahudara comes because of that. So just have to check whether the first wife, I mean, the second wife, if she walks in as a second wife, it means that the first wife is unable to produce children, or it can be the other way around. I mean, it could be a woman marrying twice, etc. Okay, so dhaneshe karmage jatah kami, somebody who is very desirous of earning money. Desire itself will not be enough, one has to work, right? Mani means who is having high self respect for himself, right? Panditaha, anyway, you know what panditaha is, who is scholarly, who has the knowledge of everything. I know a few people who have this thing, the second lord in the 10th house. I mean, either they use it or not, but they know a lot of things. Even they are not educated, maybe he studied only 10th or something like that. At the 10th grade, he stopped studying. He has enough knowledge of the worldly things, how to earn money, how to do everything. He has a very good understanding, but he's highly lazy, right? He has four or five planets in the 10th house in the Libra. Okay. And Saturn, Venus, people will see, oh, the fifth lord in the own house, he should be having children. 12 years he didn't have children. Okay. So now people will come back and say, look, I have the same combination. I had children on the very first day. What you're missing is you're not looking at everything. You have to look at Saptamsha. You have to look at Navamsha. You have to look at the yogas for not having children, right? The Navamsha Lagna had Saturn and Mercury in the Lagna. The Saptamsha had fifth house, Saturn and Mercury. So it was very difficult for him to have children, right? So as I keep saying, just don't merely look at the D1 chart, jump and say, oh, I have this, I have that, but it didn't happen. That is why astrology ka badnaam hua. A lot of people are thinking this is a pseudoscience. This is not a pseudoscience because you don't know how to use the rules. They're just calling it as pseudoscience, right? So 10th house, having second lord in the 10th house spoils the first house. So, you know, the person may have bad reputation. Okay, bad reputation in the community or in the home or at the office. The reputation is not very great, or he doesn't have any reputation. Okay, so somebody needs reputation and he doesn't have any reputation. I would just tell you simple thing. 10th house is what? Your business, your job, right? Now You have the second lord in the 10th house, and you have established a business. What does a business need? The business needs customers, right? How would the customers come? You have to let know your customers that you're operating a business, right? What would what would that mean? You are either marketing, you are spending some money in letting people know that look, I operate such and such business. These are the products and the services that my company is offering, and you need to come and take it. So that's a name, right? You're trying to give publicity. Publicity is the name, giving it a name. That's the first house. And the third house, both, right? So interestingly, from the 10th house, if you have the second lord placed there, anyway, the third house is not very well placed from the 10th house. You see, count 6 houses, it falls in the third house from the 10th house, right? So all that can help is the first house. So now the first house is being spoiled. So either you have bad name or good name, or you don't have any name and publicity is lacking, right? And it is more true when it is more stronger, okay? When it is more stronger. If the dispositor is also there, right? I know of a business, very recently somebody came in touch with me, the same combination. Saturn and Venus in the Libra, Capricorn is the Lagna. So even the person uttered anything before. So I asked him, sir, you must have not marketed the company. There is no marketing of the product is done that such a such product exists, and it is extremely worth of having this product in your kitty. He said that's the right thing because it's too expensive to do to marketing. Right? We don't know where to start the marketing from, and we are only struggling on that. Right? So I gave him a few remedies that he has to do with respect to the whole chart, not just because of that. Okay. We had many more things, but that was my starting point. But although I had seen a few other things, but this was at the back of my mind or the top of my memory because I was preparing for this thing. And the moment I saw that, that's the first question I asked him. Right. So did you have such thing? Right. So where is the thing? Where is the money coming from? Self-employment. The person is trying to employ himself, right? 10th house is extremely important for having a self-employment, government service. A lot of people are thinking, oh, you have 10th house, you will get government job. Don't have 10th house, you will not have any government job. I mean, this is so mean. जो 50 रुपए वाला prediction है ना, वो भी इससे बेहतर होगा, right? I mean, don't be offended, okay? None of you, please. I mean, if you're thinking so, try to correct yourself. It is not to say that or to prove or to say that I know a lot of things while you don't know anything. That's not the objective of the class is. What I'm trying to say is do not stereotype, okay? Politics, 10th house, second lord in the 10th house. The family is in politics, or the money is coming from the politics, right? Name and fame is the source because 10th house also deals uh, with the name and fame, right? Family business, right? And then hard work. This is an extremely important thing. You need to do a lot of hard work if you have a planet in the 10th house. If you're not coming out of your comfort zone and say, look, I have a very good yoga. Parashara said, first lord, fifth lord, 10th lord, ninth lord, all these are combined. Now, why is my yoga not working? I'm sitting at home from the past 10 years and I'm looking for the yoga to fructify. It will never fructify because you're not putting your efforts into it. Third house, sixth house, 10th house. Extremely difficult houses, right? Difficult in the sense the more you work, more is the money. You don't work, zero is the money, right? You work, you multiply. You don't work, can't help. 11th house. Second lord in the 11th house, even Parashara has praised this combination. But, be careful. Second lord goes into the 11th house, and if the 11th lord is not well placed, that means the dispositor of the second lord, because second lord getting into the 11th house means now the dispositor of it is extremely important. If it is not well placed, then you have more problems actually. You're not able to settle in life. Your money is not coming. You are struggling in life, etc. Instead, second lord goes somewhere, 11th lord goes somewhere. It is a better placement. Okay, because if even if one is spoiled, the blemish is not going to the other house, because these two houses are extremely important. Okay, so if your 11th house, second lord goes into the 11th house, yes, it's an excellent yoga to make millions of money, provided, okay, I will give you what the provided is at the end of the class. The wealth yogas, I'm going to deal with them separately. Okay, dhaneshe labhavaste sarva labha samanvitaha. You can read it from here. धनेशे लाभावस्ते सर्वलाभ समन्वितः सदुद्योगयुतो मानी कीर्तिमान जायते नरः. Right? So, see, Kirtiman, everybody understands what Kirtiman is, name and fame, right? Mani is self-respect. These are not very difficult words, very simple words. Sad Udyoga Yuto, somebody who has a very good Udyoga. Udyoga means work, employment, right? Udyoga means employment in Sanskrit. In different bhashas, it is different, but it is employment. Sarva labha samanvitaha, somebody who has the profits of everything. Dhaneshe labhavaste. You tell me one word where I can, pull something negative out of this. I don't think I can pull anything negative out of this, right? 11th house placement spoils the second house, right? So it can bring difficulties to family, right? Second lord in the 11th house. If the 11th lord is not well placed, what you can see is melodrama in the family. Melodrama in the family. Either they are quarreling for something, or every time there is some or the other issue, right? Uh, Etc. can be possible. But if the 11th lord and the 12th lord, or second lord are exchanging, or if they are forming very good yogas, which we will talk eventually at the end of the class, what you can see is then also there can be issues with the wife saying not enough not enough time that you're spending at home, and that's why we have a lot of unaddressed issues at home, and you don't care much about us. Okay, this can be a possibility, but this brings in a lot of wealth, right? What are the sources of the wealth? Elder brothers, because 11th house deals with elder brothers, friends, communication, entertainment. Why entertainment? Because it's in the trines from the 7th house. Consultants, the same thing, 7th house operative. Non-fixed salary, right? So who is on a contractual thing wherein he could be an Allu Arjun kind of a person, where he says, if the movie goes well, you need to give me 10% of the profits to me, right? I'm acting, I'm an actor, you don't pay me salary, okay? And you give me 10% of the profit. I'm Allu Arjun. Or I'm a small guy who's working for a contractual job. It's a 3 months job. After that, maybe he'll say leave, right? It's a seasonal job. That can be possible. So 12th, second lord in the 11th house, 11th lord not well placed, seasonal job the person is doing. It's the same case for the third house also. Okay. Second lord getting into the third house, third lord placed in the eighth house. The person is a, uh, we have this special months in Hindu calendars, like the Kartik Mas, Shravan Mas, right? So this guy is a Purohit who goes to Kashi. I mean, Kashi means Varanasi, right? He goes to Kashi and he works there for 2 months, right? He's a Telugu man. He sits in Varanasi. Whoever comes up there, he speaks to them in Telugu and gets their thing done for because for us and the Telugu people, we like Kartik Mas a lot. So people will wait there for Kartik Mas, right? He goes there, gets like 1 year's money in 1 month, comes back home, spends all that money and goes back, right? So second lord in the third house and the third lord is in the eighth house. It's a seasonal job. But see, if you don't apply the disposition and just use these things and try to uh, you will be a lot confused, right? Okay. Second lord also, I mean, second lord in the 11th house can also mean, it can also show hardworking, okay? Because see, No replacement is there for hard work. If somebody thinks I can do a very simple thing without doing anything and just do a remedy and get away with everything, no, it's not possible. I mean, never promise anybody anything like that. I never do it. Okay. Second Lord in the 12th house, there are a lot of people thinking, oh, no, 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 second Lord, 12th house, very bad thing. Nothing like that. Okay. Second Lord, 6th house, second Lord, 8th house, second Lord, 12th house, second Lord, 3rd house, wherever they are, you need you need to be in tune with what it is saying. Okay. So, Dhanesho Vyayage Jato Manasahasa Samyutaha, right? Parashrayi Bhave Jeshtanusaukhya Samujjitaha. Same thing. Samujjitaha is is missing. I mean, okay. Because see, the third house can show brothers. So it can show, I'm starting from here. Same thing. Jeshtanusaukhya Samujjitaha. Would mean a person who has the first brother lost. Maybe the mother had an abortion before the kids were born. So the first that the mother had was an abortion. That can be a possibility. Or not a very good relationship between the elder brother and himself or herself, or the elder sister and herself. The elder sister died after this guy is born. Okay, anything can be possible. Parashrayi would was a Parashrayi means who is working under someone, or who is under the, what is that called, किसी और के उस पे काम करना. I mean, okay, let me say it like this. You look at Venus, right? You know Venus. Venus is Shukracharya. What was Shukracharya up to? Shukracharya was thinking, why should all the devas get everything? Why not the Rakshasas get equal amount of share? Because they are also the putras of Kashyapa. They're also the legal wife as Aditi. Same like devas. What are they wrong? Why are they put down? Right? So let me help these people. In case of Vishnu, the difference is Vishnu does everything. Indra just goes and cries in front of Vishnu. Vishnu will say, don't worry, I will take an avatara. I will come down and kill that fellow, whoever is the Rakshasa. Right? Look at the same from the Shukracharya's angle. Shukracharya never fought with Vishnu. It was only the Rakshasas who were fighting Vishnu, right? Look at it like that, right? So he is a Parashrayi. Shukracharya is a Parashrayi. Why I'm talking about Shukracharya now? Because second lord by default is Venus. He exalts in the 10th house, right? And Venus would mean exaltation will mean Venus is selfish, right? Venus would represent the sperm. Why are we in this world? Because we came out of our father along with 10 million people who were running to the ovum of our mother, and we are the people who stood first. So we are selfish, right? So that's why we're talking about Venus, right? That's why the Jeshta Bhratra Saukhya Samujjitaha, all that stuff is because Venus is extremely a selfish person, right? Dhaneshe Vyayage Jato Manasahasa Samyutaha. Mana means having high self-respect. Sahasa means somebody who is extremely brave. So this second lord 12th house, he loses 1 crore rupees. Okay. I'm just giving you an example. Okay. Assuming 1 crore is a big amount for this person at that level with the kind of self worth or the net worth he has, 1 crore is a big amount for him. He will not stop there. Usually, at that point, with that kind of net worth, this person has XYZ, have same net worth, and this person has lost 1 crore, which is very big. Assuming for them, even then he will not stop there. He will keep trying. But that's what Shukracharya did. Hiranyakashyapa, Hiranyaksha, you look at all these people, right? Then he got Prahlada, right? He waited for him, for that person to be born. And he made Prahlada in such a way that Indra could not get his throne for 3 generations, right? That is the power of Shukracharya. So this person is extremely, you know, uh, extremely showing that sahas, wherein he's waiting for a longer time for things to happen, even if money is going off. This can be good, this can be bad. We don't know because success will not depend on this. Okay, never think, oh, it means that the person will be successful. We don't know. What lot of people will come back and say, useless fellow, for your net worth, 1 crore is too high. You should have stopped your business right now. Why did you continue if you are unsuccessful? Right? The same guy will come back and say, look at this guy. He lost 1 crore, but he still kept on trying and today he is successful. लोग ना कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना, right? This is the song. So people will anyway come back and tell you whatever is right, whatever is bad. They will stereotype and try to say. So should you be leaving or not will depend on the Navamsha and the Dashamsha, right? Not based on the D1. Okay, because result comes from the Navamsha chart. You don't know. But the intent comes from the D1 chart, right? But at least if you are in tune with the intent, the result can be expected, right? If the intent is not there, what will you do? The other thing with the problem with the second lord and the 12th house is the person can hurt with the brash talk, with his brash talk, somebody's feelings. Unknowingly, he may hurt the people's feelings. And he may hurt the ego of the person. बड़े लोगों से पंगा ले लेना, right? Whoever are in the power he's trying to hurt the feelings or ego of the big people, right? But the good part of him is he's trying to be mentally bold and trying to be adventurous. But his success depends on his partners, right? Second lord in the 12th house. Look at the company he is in. Company means whoever is not in the company. Company means not where he is working. Who is he meeting every day? Who is he, mingling with every day? That's the company. The kind of company he is keeping with him. Based on that, his result will be. If those people are trying to achieve, put more effort, because Shukracharya did not change. Shukracharya only said, you cannot fight Vishnu like this. You can't be drinking alcohol every day. You can't be doing all this nonsense. Do puja, do do dharma. More importantly than that, for you to win, you have to have dharma. If you have to have 10th house, you need to have your ninth house, right? Only after ninth house you come to the 10th house. Karma comes before, dharma comes before karma, right? This is what Shukracharya was teaching, but these fellows did not understand because they are Rakshasas, right? They had the tamas. But as Shukracharya went on praying and praying, this man, the same Hiranyakashipu, has got Prahlada, right? Otherwise, why would he be blessed with Prahlada, right? Deprived of happiness from elder progeny or elder brother, but most times I have seen it as elder brother, or the elder progeny is not listening to him, or he's more concerned कि मेरा जो मेरी बड़ा what is that बड़ी बच्ची है वो क्या करेगी all that stuff, और बड़ा बेटा जो है वो क्या करने वाला है all that stuff. Okay, worry about these people, the elder child. Okay, or not very good relationships with the elder brother, or the elder brother is missing in the life, right? Or mother had an abortion, right? Or the elder brother ran away from home, maybe 15-20 years. I know एक किस्सा मालूम है. One gentleman ran off his home after his 12th class examination. He was a very sharp child. Nobody knew where he went. Okay, so such combinations, right? Foreign MNCs. So second lord in the 12th house, the sources of money are foreign MNCs. Unless the person gets into a very uncomfortable position to work, that means he has to leave his place, or he has to do those things which he does not like to do, then only he will get work, or then only he will get money. He doesn't like to do that stuff, but he is forced to do it. This is the most biggest combination for second lord and 12th house. He doesn't like it, but he wants to do it, right? Shukracharya doesn't want to oppose Vishnu. He never said go and fight Vishnu. Okay, so but he is forced to do it because Vishnu is stopping Indra to be on the chair. He doesn't want the Devatas to leave the chair of the Indra because tamasic people cannot sit there, right? So anyway, spiritual gurus, 12th house is spirituality. NGOs, non-government organization, secret works, people who are research scientists, chemicals and stuff who are based on the formula thing. They think that their formula is very secret. I cannot tell you what my formula is. Typically, like me, I work on a formula thing. Okay. So I have my second lord in the 12th house. Okay, if somebody is feeling like, eighth, 12th houses are very bad, or 8th, 6th, 12th houses are very bad, welcome to my league. I have most planets in 8, 6, and 12 houses. Don't worry. Okay, there's nothing like that. I'm pretty happy. I have enough money to live. I have, I have nothing much to, worry about in life. I'm not saying an Ambani or an Adani. I'm contented with what I have. Okay. So psychology, expenditure and sales, import and export, criminals and jails, competition, harsh words hurting others' sentiments or egos. Unknowingly hurting someone, मजाक मजाक में किसी को कुछ बोल देना और उस दो दिल पे ले लेना. These are those things that you can expect from the second lord in the 12th house.